In this spoiler-free review of the Exit the Game series, we will go over the basic premise of the games, how long you can expect to play a game, how many players are ideal to have for a game, how the level of difficulty impacts play, and give recommendations of our favorite versions. As well, we'll share our experience of what it is like to play the games as a couple and give an escape room's team-building appeal, what ways they may actually benefit your relationship. This review is based on our own purchases and play experiences as a couple of multiple titles. Exit the Game is a franchise of various themed cooperative board games that are affordable and fun at-home alternatives to going out to an escape room. They have some of the tactile experience of an actual escape room, with puzzles at least as challenging as the real thing, without having to go anywhere. That's a real plus if you have young kids, although you may want to play after they go to bed, as you'll need to concentrate and communicate clearly with your partner. They are tabletop games best played side by side, and you may not want small children around either if they're likely to get into your materials. The games seem to be easy to find in stores and are conveniently available on Amazon if you're one of the many people, like parents, who enjoy hassle-free online shopping and quick home delivery. They are a good value for the money and cost significantly less than going out to play, although don't quite recreate the thrilling experience of a real escape room. They provide a more interactive and better real-world experience, though, than an app, and have more challenging puzzles than most escape-type app games we have tried on our devices and phones. Compared to a similar style board game, like Escape Room in a Box, these games are less of a three-dimensional experience as they only have paper game materials. However, they're also about half the price. The games list the difficulty using a 5-point scale, novice at 1 and expert at 5. We regularly play escape apps and have been to escape rooms on our own where we've beat games meant for a group. And we still found the 4 out of 5 level exit games to be very challenging, and occasionally felt that the puzzles didn't follow logic. Sometimes we understood what the makers of the game had tried to set up, however the puzzles just weren't clear or working as they intended. There are versions with 2 and 3 point ratings to try out and find a comfortable playing level for everyone. We recommend you try at least 2 or 3 games, as the first one helps you to learn how to play, and while the themes change, the basic premise doesn't. The themes vary from being trapped on a forgotten island or in a secret lab to investigating an old-timey theft on the Mississippi River while on a paddle boat. If you really want to make this an immersive adventure for games like the latter, then get out your bow tie and best New Orleans accent, pour yourself a bourbon, and solve the mystery as part of a dramatic theme night in. We've played a number of games in this series and would recommend Abandoned Cabin as one to start with given its average difficulty rating and classy, creepy scenario. Theft on the Mississippi, with its more elaborate storyline and innovative puzzles, is the most engaging version we played. Dead Man on the Orient Express is a close second. If you enjoy these standard games in this series and want a more difficult and longer challenge, The Catacombs of Horror is a special 2-part game that involves fire to solve the final riddle. The Deserted Lighthouse is one of the first versions to include jigsaw puzzles rather than cards. The game is centered around 4 88-piece puzzles that provide riddles and clues, which are similar to those of previous games. This is for jigsaw puzzle enthusiasts and is a fun variation on the game if you're a fan of the series and getting tired of the usual formula. In general, the newer games in the series have more creative and satisfying riddles. While we typically really enjoy playing these games, the older ones in the series are less polished. Of the ones we've played, The Stormy Flight and The Pharaoh's Tomb are our least favorite, where some clues were too vague, occasionally resulting in wrong turns that could ruin game materials before the puzzle was solved. As well, The Enchanted Forest is themed more so for families than adults playing on their own. The games typically suggest the amount of time to play as 1 to 2 hours. However, we needed closer to 3 when we played the higher difficulty games as a couple. Once you try one variation of the game, it'll get easier and faster as you become familiar with the out-of-the-ordinary riddles. As well, the setup stays the same. For example, each game contains a decoder disc, riddle, answer, and help cards, and a booklet, and that makes subsequent games quicker to get the hang of. As the box says, these games really are for one use only, so don't be afraid to tear out, cut, and draw all over the pieces. In fact, sometimes destroying game materials is actually required to solve a puzzle. Something else to keep in mind is similar to a real escape room, every single thing in the packaging could be a part of the game. It's helpful to get some supplies together before starting to play, especially if you're taking the game with you on a weekend getaway to an actual abandoned cabin. A couple pens, preferably non-smearing, some paper, a pair of scissors, and while not required, a ruler and smartphone or device can be useful if you have them on hand. There's a free companion app called Cosmos Helper that can be downloaded ahead of time and works with all the games in the series. It not only provides a timer and atmospheric music tailored to each theme like a real escape room, it also has a great tutorial to explain the game and illustrate examples if you want to skip reading the instruction manual. As a bonus, the app has free, very short mini games available. While the game suggests you can play as a group of 2 to 4 people or even on your own, they are perfect for couples given their difficulty, as well as the small booklets, cards, and game pieces you'll be sharing and looking at together to solve the puzzles. If your goal is to build your relationship and spend quality time as a couple, these games provide opportunities for collaborative problem solving, discovering your partner's talents, and improving your communication skills over a few hours of entertainment. These activities are great for practicing depending on the other and remaining calm under pressure. If you are worried that the puzzles may become more of an irritation than an exciting challenge, there are help cards to give you various clues and even the solution if needed, so that your date night is fun and not frustrating. You can also stop the game and resume if you need to continue it later, and the timer on the app can be paused and restarted if your game is going too long in one sitting. This is a great feature for parents. There's no time you must beat unless you decide to set one to increase the challenge, and your ultimate goal as a couple can just be to complete the cooperative game, appreciate the complementary skills you and your partner bring to solving the riddles, and enjoy spending time with each other. Escape rooms create novel and potentially heart-racing experiences for couples, which make ideal dates according to relationship experts. An offshoot of the series is Adventure Games Discover the Story. We tried The Dungeon, which, as the title of the game series suggests, is heavily focused on the story and is much slower paced. Rather than puzzles, there are choices to determine next steps in the game, which risk consequences or rewards while exploring each room and locating clues. It is more board game style with playing pieces and turn-taking, but is still cooperative and works for 2 people. We strongly prefer the exit games over adventure games. We also tried the Cherry Blossom Festival from Pegasus Spiel's Undo series. It is packaged very similarly to an exit game and appears to be a competitor. However, it was closer to playing an adventure games. There are no puzzles, and the game is primarily made up of cards you choose that tell a story as you try to reverse a character's fate. Adventure Games was more complex and higher quality than Undo. However, neither of these games came close to the exciting challenge of playing an exit game. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel for more reviews of two-person games and helpful information on relationship building. By commenting, liking, and subscribing, you support more videos like this one to be made. If you're interested in exit games and are looking for easier escape room board games, you might also like Escape Room in a Box and Escape the Room board games.